Welcome back to my page. Welcome back to my platform. Welcome back to whatever social space you are in. Welcome back. We're happy to have you. Alrighty, you guys, we're doing the 40 days of love. 40 straight days talking about nothing but love. Come on now. Let's give it up for love. Yes, yes, yes. Love is in the boat, in the building. Love is in the room. I'm here for it. Alrighty, so we're jumping in. The Love Dare, the 40 Days of Love. It's a series that I do every single year. Well, I've done it for the last 3 or 4 years. I think this is my fourth time around, but I can't be for sure. So each day for 40 days, mhm, we go through and we talk about a specific subject. And then for that particular day, you would then go in and do a specific dare towards your spouse, right? So this is for those of us who need some extra spark in our marriage, those of us who are feeling like roommates in our marriage, those of us who have no spark in the marriage, those who are on the verge of making a decision that we're not going to be married no more. So this study is for those individuals. Now, I have seen this and I've done this singly, I've done this, but there are certain things that you can't do if you're single, right? There's certain portions of this book that are just not, they don't lean towards the single person. I guess if you're kind of if you're engaged or fianced, you might could manage around some of the things, but really for the married people. I have done single studies before, but I will not be doing a single study this year that I know about. The Lord has not said. So if He didn't say, I'm not doing it because I don't want to be doing any more extra work than what I need to be doing anyway. Alrighty, so thank y'all again so much for stopping by and coming back. Do a fave, like the video, share, subscribe, do all the things. Follow whatever platform you're on, do that thing. That just helps us push out into the algorithm. It just helps get the message of Christ out. This is a Christ-centered study. My name is Pastor Shakima. For those of you who are new, I'm happy to have you. All right. So yesterday was yesterday we prepped for today, which is day 12. Day 12 is love lets the other win. And so your dare for today was demonstrate love by willingly choose, excuse me, by willingly choosing to give in to an area of disagreement between you and your spouse. Tell them that you are putting their preferences first. Now, did anybody get a chance to do that? That's a hard one because we all want our own way. We all want to do it how we want to do it. And we really do not want to prefer anybody else over ourselves. I know how it's supposed to be done. I know how I want it done. I know what, we know all of the things. And sometimes it can cause a rift or disagreement with our spouse. And we do not want to give. I do not want to give nothing. I don't want to give an inch, nothing. Hey now, thank y'all for joining us. I'm so glad y'all are here. We don't want to give an inch. We don't want to give anything. I just wanted to be the way I wanted to be, and that's just how it's going to be. But that's not how you do it in a marriage, right? A marriage is, and the two shall become one. So we're coming together. We're bridging the gap. My stuff becomes your stuff, and sometimes I have to give in, right? Sometimes you have to give in, but that's just how it works. So I do hope that you were able to go through, and then it asks you some reflection questions, right? So each day has a dare and then reflection. What issue did you choose? What did giving in cost you, and how will this help you in the future? So it gives you some questions to go back and reflect on, and those questions are very important. It really is, because if you don't ever take time to journal out, right? I can think I know something in my brain, but I need to write it down. I might have to go back and I might have to look this up again, or whatever the case is, right? So I encourage you to go back. We're 12 days in. If you haven't done your reflection, you still have time on your lunch break. When you're watching a show in between shows, I mean, you can take a few minutes to just kind of go back and reflect. All right. And I'm much better, y'all. I have been sick all week long and I have pressed my way. And I thank God for that. But I am so much better. I'm still not 100%, but praise the Lord for the 95% that I am, right? I've just got a little bit of something, but it's going to be gone in Jesus' name. So I am thankful to the Lord for touching my body. I had really no symptoms before yesterday. was it yesterday. I really only started really having symptoms yesterday, no, Thursday. And whew, that thing hit me real, but I was down all week just for no reason. So anywho, I'm better. All right. Now today is we're prepping for day 13, which is tomorrow. Day 13 is Love Fights Fair. Right now, this happens to be one of my favorite days throughout the whole 40. There are a couple more that I really do like, but this day is so important. It's so vital. Hey, Ladybug, thank you so much for praying for me. This day is so vital. Y'all put your names in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. It's always helpful to know who's on. I'm so glad to have you. But Love Fights Fair Day 13 is one of my favorite days. And let me tell you why. I am a communication person, right? I was out with a friend a couple weeks ago. We had went out to dinner, and I had just gone quiet for a minute, and they looked at me and they said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Sure, nothing's wrong." He's like, "You sure?" I said, "Yes." And they said, "Well, I know you like to converse, but you're not saying anything. So there's got to be something on your mind." And what I said to them was, I've just said all that I needed to say up to this point. So I don't have anything else I need to say at the moment. Right. So it wasn't like anything. There was nothing wrong. I've talked out. Right. There's nothing else to talk about at this one specific moment. But I am a talker, and I want to talk. I want to hash it out. If we got issues, we gonna talk about these things. Now, this is where you've heard me talk about the rules of engagement, right? Most people are weary or afraid. Chris, where are you from? From Chicago. Hey, ma'am. We are afraid, or we're leery or weary about conflict. There are very few people that feel confident to go into a situation and deal with conflict. There are not a lot of us that can do it the right way, right? Most of us, when we've seen conflict in our life, there has been no resolution. Now, we know about conflict resolution now, but before, it wasn't no resolution, or it was crazy. I know in my household, nothing got resolved. Nothing was resolved. Everybody was always fighting and fussing and cussing and carrying on, but nothing got resolved, right? And that's just not how a marriage should be. The topmost thing that you should have in your marriage, one of the top, is communication. We have to talk. And I don't mean just when we're being intimate with each other. I think that's beautiful. Talk to me, say all the stuff. Let me know how it's going and all the things. But outside of that, I need you to talk to me. I need to be able to hear. Don't text me. Do not text me. If we got a problem, no, I'll play it. Don't do it. I need you to talk to me. I need to hear your tone. I need to kind of see what your voice is doing. I need to know when you inflect. I need to know. So talk to me. And the better part of that is, because we have this technology, FaceTime, so I can see your facial expressions. That's important. It's those nonverbal communication skills. It's those verbal communication skills. Some of us need to know or learn how to talk to each other. Some of us, our language is loud. We just loud, and we're not fussing, but we just loud. I know New Yorkers, that's how we are. We just, and Italians, honey, we just having a big party fun. We just loud. There are some people who don't get over this. How you think it? You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn how to effectively communicate with our spouses in order to see progression in our marriage. If you want to see progression in your marriage, you have to learn how to communicate. And you cannot be afraid to say things. Now, here's this. Let me say this. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Sometimes the reason that we are afraid to express, or we're afraid to communicate, is because our partner has not made it easy for us to do so. They have either picked at us or made fun of us for trying to communicate, because maybe that's not how they did it when they were growing up, or they will try to demean us, or they'll try to, I hear this new word, I don't even know what it means, but gaslight us, making us think it's our problem. No. We need to come together as a couple, and we need to communicate. When we were dating, because when we were dating, we talking all the time. We on the phone, honey. You sleep, I'm sleep. We just, honey, we on the phone. Now that we're married, we hardly ever take time to communicate. Now, I get it that there are there's schedules, there's seasons where, couples are passing each other, just trying to do the best they can for their families, especially young couples who have not saved up a lot of money. So we working hard trying to do all the things, buy a house, have a baby, whatever the case. But you have to spend time with your person. I am a proponent 100% of spending quality time. I don't care when it is, but we either gonna lay in this bed and watch the show, or we gonna get up on a Saturday morning and go have breakfast or coffee or whatever the case. I have a friend, her and her husband have a coffee date every Saturday morning. Every Saturday morning, unless she's working out of town or he's working out of town. Every Saturday morning they have a coffee date. Why? Because we need that us time. We need that face to face. We need that coming back together. That's a key component to keeping your marriage going. All right. So, Love Fights Fair Day 13 is an apology day, right? This is an apology day. Your source verses are Mark 3:25, 1 John 1:8, Romans 12:18, Matthew 18:21-22, James 5:16, Matthew 7:3, James. There was another James. Proverbs 15:1, and there was another James. I think it was 1 something. I can't find it right. Oh, James 1:19. So those are your source verses for today, and we're probably gonna go in and read some of these verses, right? Let's get the Bible out. Let's do that. Okay. So he says, and he starts, this is on page 61 if you have the book. If you don't, just go to your search engine and type in the Love Dare PDF, and you'll find that somebody has scanned it up in there, and you can have it. Very good. So he says, like it or not, conflict in marriage is simple and it's inevitable. You're never going to be able to get away from conflict. There's always going to be something, right? Now, it doesn't have to be something all the time, but throughout the duration of your marriage, don't think that you're never going to have conflict. You can have, we can get along so well in our courtship, in our dating phase, but there's going to be some things that rises its ugly head. So conflict is a serious disagreement or argument, typically a protracted one. It also means to squabble. It's a difference of opinion. It's discord. It's friction, or it can be viewed as hostility. So you can say, hey, I've had all of those. I've felt all of those. Because when you are in discord with your spouse, there's no togetherness. We are not on the same page. There is some friction in the house. We feel like there's a rub going on. I know you mad. You know I'm mad. The house is not at peace. There's just a lot happening here. But you have to understand that there's always going to be something that pops up, and you have to know how to navigate that, right? Okay. He says, let me see. Everything is good until you in the dating phase, everything's good. But when you finally start living together and being husband and wife, you start seeing these cracks, right? You start seeing the real person of who they is. I saw somebody today that said, when you're dating, that's the person's best self. So after the dating is over, you ain't getting that best self anymore. We put our best foot forward in the dating stage, right? Because I want you to think that I'm all of this and I do all these things. Honey, I wash my hair just for you, right? That's the dating stage. Honey, I might wear my bonnet for 3 days when we get married. So don't think they're going to bring anything else better when you get married. This is who they are. So you're going to begin to see the cracks. You're going to begin to see the small little things. They leave their socks on the floor. Their hampers running over. They don't exactly put up the dishes the way you do. They don't handle their money the way you do, because y'all have not joined up money until you got married. So now you got to try to come up with a system that works for the money. Who's going to deal with the money? Well, you don't have the best spending habits. Well, how you know I don't have the best spending habits? Because you spend all this. So now there's something, right? The schedule of intimacy. He want it, you don't. She want it, you don't. It's 3 times a week. No, I like it 5 times a day. Whatever the case. So there's some friction there. If you have children, especially children that are outside of this marriage covenant, there's going to be friction there, because you got them kids and you got them kids mama, or you got them kids daddy, and there's going to be some friction in there. So whatever it is, you're going to have to learn how to deal with conflict. Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay, he says, so don't think living out today's dare will drive all conflicts from your marriage. It won't. Instead, This is about dealing with conflict in such a way that you come out healthier on the other side, right? That's the goal. What's the end game? I keep asking a friend of mine, like, what's the end game? Tell me what your plan is, right? Oh, I want to do this. Yes, but to get to what? I need to know what your end game is. Child, and leave the toilet seat up. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. Ooh, glory. But what's the end game? I'm trying to get to what? So here, I'm trying to get to a healthier marriage on the other side of this conflict. I'm trying to get to the point where we're not mad at each other all the time because we can't agree on what whose house we going to for holidays. Listen to me, and I tell people this all the time. You can cut off a lot of this stuff at the pass. You really can. The Bible says in Genesis 2:18-25, and for this shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave only unto his wife. Okay, read it. There's a lot more in there, but that's the gist, right? So when you covenant with the spouse, husband and wife, if you're the man, and you covenant with a woman, or you the woman, you covenant with whatever. When you covenant with that person, whatever your family was doing before, you have a new family. This is the family now. Now, if you agree that we're going to go to mama's house on Christmas Eve, and then we're going to go to your mama's house on Christmas Day, or the day after, whatever this family unit agrees to is the thing. Because we get into a lot of conflicts over, we always do Christmas Eve at my house. Well, that's before I was married. I'm married now. My husband and I get to decide. When you have children, you get to decide what happens to your kids. They're your kids. Your parents can't tell you. They can give you a voice, they can give you some insight, but they're still your children. You get to decide. So when you start having other people in your business, that causes conflict. It causes rift. It causes the lack of safety. I don't feel safe here because I think you're going to choose your mother over me. Can I tell you this? I love my mother when she was living, but I'm not going to choose my mother over my husband. I'm not going to choose my children over my husband. I didn't covenant with them. I covenanted with him. He is my number one priority after the Lord. The Lord, my husband, my children. I'm not going to slack my children. I'm not going to give them less of me, but I'm going to be covenanted with him. So when you understand the proper roles of people in your life, that can cut off a lot of conflict. We have unnecessary conflict. It's not necessary. Why are we mad at each other because somebody else is mad? What they got to do with us? That has nothing to do with us. So it's all about these rules of engagement. How is it that you're going to fight, right? Okay, so you see, was it MMA, XMA, something with this? It's like some karate chopping and boxing at the same time. So some people fight with boots on, some people fight with boots off. When my son was doing taekwondo, there was no gloves unless they were sparring. If they were just doing, well, they had to spar with gloves. They had to actually wear helmets, and they had to wear a mouthpiece. And if they were a male, they had to wear a cup, right? Because people fight dirty, and I need to make sure that I'm protected in all areas. Boxers use gloves, but nothing else. So how are you going to fight? What is your fighting stance look like? Okay. He says the deepest, most heartbreaking damage you'll ever do or ever have done to your marriage will likely occur in the thick of conflict. That's because this is when your pride is strongest, your anger is hottest, and you're most selfish and judgmental. Your words contain the most venom. You make the worst decisions. A great marriage on Monday can start driving into off the cliff on Tuesday if unbridled conflict takes over and neither of you has a foot on the brakes. But if you love your person, you're going to not get to this. You're not even going to get there. Love stops the conflict. Love fights fair. It just does. Let me go to a verse. Let me go to 1 John 1:8. Let me see. I just want to read a little Bible because I haven't read a lot of Bible. I've given y'all verses, but I haven't read a ton. So let me see if I can find, okay, back here, 1 John. Oh, that's 2 Peter. I want to be on John. 1 John, okay. 1:8 says, if we say we have no sin, we are deceiving ourselves and the truth is not in us, right? My grandmother would always say that. there are sinful things in me. I don't want to say they're bad parts of me, but there are sinful things in me. There's sinful things in my spouse. There are going to be things that we agree on and things we don't agree on. Romans 12:18. Let's go to Romans 12. John, Acts, Romans 12. Okay, lots of Acts. Romans 12, verse 18. See, that cough want to be out here acting out. We're not about to do it. It's the first time I've been coughing all night. 12:18 says, if possible, on your part, live at peace with everyone. If possible, on your part, live at peace with everyone. Now, you cannot control your spouse. Nobody has control over anybody else. We all make our own choices and decisions. My decision is not to be at odds with you. I'm choosing peace every single time. So you get to make that decision no matter what communication you're having, no matter what conflict you're in. Excuse me, y'all. No matter what conflict you're in, you get to determine how you're going to engage. All right, let's move on. Now, he says the wisest way to learn how to fight clean. Now, you might want to write this down. You're going to have to write it down anyway for your dare. Is to establish healthy rules of engagement. Now, those of us who work in a professional setting, you might have heard these as norms. Those you might have heard them as norms is what I hear in your professional learning communities. Excuse me. Ooh, the devil. They're called norms. Thank you so much. God bless you. So, how is it that we're going to fight? He says you have two types of boundaries. You have we boundaries. This is what we agree to do together. And you have me boundaries. This is what I agree to do. He gave us some example. What in the devil? Ooh, the devil don't want me to teach this tonight. He gave us some examples. Now, if you're doing we boundaries, you have to both agree. So we both agree, and you have to agree to these before the argument, right? So when you get married or before you get married, right before, y'all might want to establish some rules here. If we have conflict, and I know it's going to come up, how are we going to handle it? Because you don't want to try to make up the rules when the conflict is here. We already have rules. So here are some we boundaries, and you need to have these every single time. You can't have boundaries one argument and no boundaries the next argument. You always have to have boundaries. That's how we work it out. The first boundary, and this is just some he gave. These are some examples. We'll never mention divorce. Now, if you are on the divorce train and you think it's okay to mention it, don't use that as a boundary. When I get married, when the Lord sends my spouse, I am not getting divorced, period. We're going to work it out, whatever it is. Don't marry me if you planning divorce. If divorce is in your vocabulary, don't marry me because it's not in mine. I'm going to work it out. So we'll never mention divorce. That's one of our rules of engagement. Doesn't have to be one of yours. It's just one of that he gave here. Some examples. Number 2, we will not bring up old, unrelated items from the past. If it's in the past, leave it in the past. Don't bring it back to this new argument because that has nothing to do with what was over there. We are only talking about this right here. And sometimes when you start bringing up old stuff, you never deal with the conflict that you have facing you. The third thing, we'll never fight in public or in front of our children. Now, when I was married, that was a rule that we had, and it was a rule. We never fought in front of our children. They never knew that we were having disagreement or discord or disharmony, disunity or whatever. That was important for us. First of all, we didn't want to be looking crazy out in public, just yelling at each other. And we didn't want to teach unhealthy conflict resolution in front of our children. Even when we would go and work it out just between us, we rarely raised our voices until the end. Like at the end, it just got bad. But That was one of our rules. Another rule: we will call a timeout if the conflict escalates to a damaging level. If you feel like these words are hurting and they are meant to wound, or you feel like you're being wounded, it is okay to say, I need to flag on the play. I need a minute. I need a minute. There's nothing better than to say, hey, let me have 5 minutes because I feel myself going to a place that I don't want to go to, right? I don't want to go here. So let me focus, right? You can go to the bathroom, excuse yourself for a moment, and come back. It's perfectly fine. It's no problem. And that is okay to do. Some people don't want to do that because they feel like it prolongs the argument. But if it saves us from saying stuff we're going to have to go back and apologize for anyway, why not just take that small time out? Romans 12:18 says, if possible, on your part, live at peace with everybody. Your spouse is included in everybody. Sometimes we look at other people and then our spouse is separate. No, they're included. They're your neighbor. Love your esteem your neighbor higher than yourself. They are everybody. Be at peace if you can, right? Because we don't have to be in conflict. We choose it. Just like we choose love, we choose conflict sometimes. Now, I'm not saying there aren't things you have to discuss, but some of us we come to the fight with brass knuckles, honey. We come greased up. We ready to go in, and we ain't even trying to. We not fighting fair. We below the belt. We doing all the things, and the person's like, "Oh my God, what happened? Why we here? How did we get here?" So be prepared for that, right? Now, remember, if your person doesn't want to do together rules, you're still going to have some rules for yourself. The next rule he says is we will never touch one another in a harmful way. Hands off. I will never put my hands on you to the point where you feel unsafe. I will never, encroach on your bubble, whatever the case is, because some people, that's a trigger for them. That's going to cause more problems, but that's a rule, right? If you don't put it into, well, they should know better. Some people don't know better. You got to train folks. You got to teach people into what you want them to know. Thank you, Apostle Duhart. You got to teach people into it if they don't know, especially if they grew up. I grew up in a volatile household. My grandparents they would argue and they would throw stuff across the house, glasses breaking and shattering, and honey, we was tiptoeing around. That's how I grew up. So that's how I thought fighting should be. It should not be that way. That was normal in my household, but it's not normal. So I have had to relearn some things. The next thing he says, we will never go to bed angry with one another. Now, if you don't mind going to bed mad, go to bed mad, but it's not for me. I can't sleep. If I'm angry with you and I want to be close and I want to be in your cuddle space and I want you to hold me and hug me and all that, and I'm mad, I don't want you to do all that when I'm mad, and I want to feel all that. So I'm not going to bed mad. But if that's not your rule, that's fine. That's my rule. We're going to hash this thing out. The next thing he says, as an option, failure is not an option. Whatever it takes, we're going to work it out. We're not going to fail in this. No, we are going to come up with a solution that both of us can live with. Even if we got to go back to day 12 and somebody has to give in, right? We are going to work this thing out, period. That is the end. Now, I put another one in here. We will always make up. Let me tell you something. The enemy has a field day when he can get husband and wife apart. He does not agree with marriage. He doesn't want marriage to flourish. Marriage was God's idea. It was not the enemy's idea. So if I can get between a husband and a wife, that's where he wants to be. We're always going to make up. I don't know how that makeup looks for you, but I'm coming together intimately with my spouse. We're not arguing and then not making up. We're making up, because that creates that bonding. That creates that togetherness. That takes up that space so that I know and he knows we're safe with each other. We're safe here. I can let it all go, let it all hang out. So you pick your choice how you want to do that, and that's fine. But those were 8. Well, he gave 7. I added in the last one, we boundaries. Then you have me boundaries. He gave us 3 different me boundaries. 1, I will listen before speaking. Everyone must be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. That's James 1:19. Sometimes we open up our mouths way too soon. You didn't even hear them get the whole situation out before you trying to give a rebuttal. You trying to answer it back. Sit, listen, shh, shh. Let them say it. Okay, it may make your pressure rise, but that's fine. Let them get it out. And if you don't understand, ask for clarity. Okay, I hear you saying this, but are you saying this? Don't have misunderstandings. Ask for clarity. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm not sure what you meant by that. Can you unpack this a little bit? Or my friend will say, explain, right? I'll say something and they'll be like, explain, because I don't understand what you're saying. That's no problem. That's a me thing. I'm not going to always jump on you, pounce on you. I want to hear what you have to say so that I can have an intelligible answer back. Okay. He said, and I thought this was good, you should always approach sensitive issues by respectfully asking questions rather than making assumptions or unleashing accusations. Ask questions, don't assume and don't accuse. Don't assume and don't accuse, right? Because you might be assuming something based on a conversation you had with somebody else. You might be accusing them based on something somebody else saw. You didn't see it firsthand, but your sister saw it, and so she gonna tell you, and now you jumping on. Wait a minute, no, you misinterpreted that. That wasn't how that was. So ask questions for clarity. Don't assume and don't accuse. Um, I know that's right, honey. Me too. Studying to be real quiet because I can talk. The second me rule for me, well, he gave us this example, is I will deal with my own issues up front. Why do you look at the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that's in your own eye? That's Matthew 7:3. If you quickly admit where you are wrong and apologize first, you disarm your spouse. Listen, I know that I totally flew off the handle last time. I apologize. I did not give you time to speak. Listen, I'm owning it. I'm owning my stuff. That really takes the wind out of their sails because they came for a fight. But if you show up with that humility, if you show up in that submitted, I'm submitted to this. If you show up like you're not trying to overtake them, they don't know what to do then. They're so disarmed. They're like, wait, I can't. I brought all my tools because I knew you was going to be out here. No, I just can't. I'm not today. So you can do that. You can do that. And it disarms your partner, your spouse. The third thing he says, which I think is very good, and some of us can study this as well. He says, I will speak gently and keep my voice down. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. That's Proverbs 15:1. A gentle word turns away wrath. Again, I can tend to be pretty loud. That's just because I'm from Brooklyn. But I've learned how to bring it down a notch. This is use your inside voice. We don't have to be all loud. We on a level 1 right here. Okay. Because when you start getting loud, it really tends to escalate the situation. I don't want to escalate. I want to de-escalate the situation. So let me. And then I also think that we need to I think we need to sit down, right? I'm going to sit down and discuss with you. Sometimes we standing up and we getting in people's faces, and that's aggressiveness. That's masculine against a masculine man is going to see he's going to see masculine energy. I'm not into energies, but this is the words, right? So a masculine man is going to see a woman in his face as masculine energy, and sometimes their minds don't work right, and they lash out because they think that's a man, right? That energy is pulling them to that place. Now, nobody has the right to put their hands on anybody. If you are being harmed in any way, please get out of that situation. But if you sit down, right? I'm going to be lower than you. I'm going to sit at this table. Maybe you need a table between you. Doesn't matter. Sit down. And I'm going to keep my voice low. And I'm just going to tell you what it is. Now, again, you can't determine how your spouse is going to do it. You just have to make a determination how you're going to do it. And this has to work for you. This is what he said. This is the last thing, and then we'll give you your dare. He says, fighting fair means changing your weapons, what you fight with. Disagreeing with dignity, building a bridge instead of burning one down. Love is not a fight, but it is always worth fighting for. One of the other rules or norms that I would put in is we're not going to involve anybody else in our conflict. Your mama can't be involved. My sister can't be involved. We ain't inviting the kids in. This is our situation. Now, it's different if you have like marriage mentors or if you have spiritual parents or whatever, that you can always go to them for sage advice. But bringing other people, I'm not going to talk about my marriage to my ladies group. I'm not going to talk about my marriage to the book club or the mommy and me club or whatever it is. You have to find a way to protect your spouse. That is the chiefest number one thing of life. I was talking with somebody earlier this morning and their feelings were so hurt, absolutely broken. They're coming to like a very decision place in this marriage, and they said they out here dogging me to everybody. They just dogging my name to everybody they know. Do not do that. Because what if miraculously we reconcile? Everybody outside of the reconciliation is still going to be mad at the other person. They're not going to forgive like you forgave. Now, again, if you have a marriage mentor, if you have spiritual parents, pastors, whatever, you can go to them for godly counsel. I'm not saying keep everything to yourself, but what I'm saying is just casual conversation, putting your business out there. That we're done with all of that because people don't necessarily know how to handle your business, right? When you got to go down and take care of important business, you don't take everybody with you. You just take the people whose names is on this document because everybody else won't know what to say and how to handle that. So we have to be very, very careful in how we handle our mouths when we're talking about our spouses. We should always cover them. Love covers. It covers a lot of stuff. Yes, I know he didn't do this. Yes, I know he messed up. Yes, I know she said this. Love covers a lot of stuff. The problem that we have is we're so inundated with everything that we spend little time at home. We don't eat together anymore. We don't sit down and break bread anymore. We don't even have a cup of coffee together. Listen, I just gotta be moving. I'm on the go, gotta go, gotta go. So we don't sit down, we don't take any time with our spouses. We don't know who they are. We realize after 10 years, I'm living with a person I don't even know. Because how do you go to irreconcilable differences if y'all was just together? Y'all was just together. Like when did we decide to be irreconcilable? Who decided that? How did that happen? How did we get there? But you get there, right? So you have to make that determination in your mind. Fighting fair means changing your weapons. I'm going to stop posting on social media. Listen, don't post your business on social media because social media is there's thousands of people before you can post something right now. 30 seconds later, you can go and say, you know what, I need to take that down. Somebody has already screenshotted. They already screenshotted, screen record. So whether you took it down or not, somebody still got a receipt. And they will not let you forget what you posted. And you got to be real careful too, because people who will play in your face and want your spouse, and they'll see you posting all your business. The next thing you know, they coming in to console your spouse, and you wondering why the husband is now sleeping with the best friend. So I'm saying, I mean, don't look at me. I'm not the best friend or the side chick. I don't roll like that, but not that I know of. Okay, so just saying. So y'all be very careful out here with who you invite into your marriage, especially your conflict. So your dare for tomorrow. Talk with your spouse about establishing healthy rules of engagement. If your mate is not ready for this, then write out your own personal rules to fight by. Resolve to abide by them when the next disagreement occurs. So every time you disagree, I'm going to stick to these rules. Even if you have to write it down and carry it with you so you don't forget. Because sometimes we do forget or we're not used to having these new rules. So I need to remind myself there's nothing wrong with reminding yourself about the right things to do, right? That's okay. But I want to be able to change the way that I've been fighting. I don't want to fight unfair anymore. I want to fight fair. I don't want to punch below the belt. I don't want to, do a dirty move or something on my spouse. I want to just be fair here. I understand what you're saying. Absolutely. I hear your point. Sometimes you need to say that. I hear your point, but this is my point, right? No pointing. I will not put my fingers up in your face. Sometimes you got that's a rule because people be all this. No, we're not doing any of that. No, no. Whatever your rules are, because they may be different than mine. May not be. Your spouse may be a avoidant, right? I agree to sit down at this table and discuss because avoidance don't discuss. You'll never discuss ever in life. But if we agree to this, then this is what we agree to. And so I think I always tell couples that tomorrow. I always tell couples that you should have a weekly meeting where we meet. I always recommend Sunday nights. Sunday nights, 6:30, 7:30. If you have small kids, maybe a little bit later, or maybe get the kids in bed a little earlier on a Sunday night. Whatever is the top of your week. My week starts on a Sunday. And so we sit down, my spouse and me. I bring my calendar, he brings his calendar. We know exactly what everybody has going on for the week. Why is that important? Because I don't need to have conflict over you missed an appointment. I don't need conflict over I thought you was taking little Johnny to softball and I was taking Becky to ballet lessons. I don't need conflict over, oh, this is not a pay week. I need, if this is a pay week and what's getting paid. All of those things you talk about in that weekly meeting, it can be 30 minutes. 30 minutes is plenty of time, especially if you do it every week. It's plenty of time to sit and say, hey, this is where we are. This keeps a lot of conflict out. Okay, babe, who's going grocery shopping this week? You got it? Okay, great. So I will do kids' activities if you do the grocery. Whatever that is, you need to sit down. And then once you've planned out your week, you'll know when you can stick in us time. You got a lot of kids' activities at the beginning of the week. Fine. We're going to have mommy, daddy time on the weekend or on Friday. Okay, you have good family and good family, good grandparents that you know going to take care of your kids and not harm. Okay, mom and daddy, listen, can y'all do 2 Saturdays out the month just to keep the kids so we can have some together time? I'm not saying you don't have it any other day, but we need quality time that is not disturbed by other little things. Put your phones down. We're going to intimacy. We're going to be together, face to face, heart to heart. We're going to be together. And that helps to build your marriages. I know everybody's going about their own way doing this, and we out here trying to get the bag. Listen, what good is the bag if you don't have nobody to open it with? That's my thought. You know, I can get the bag, but if I ain't got nobody to open the bag with, I'm just looking at it by myself. Then don't get married. That's your choice. All right. Join me tomorrow for Love Takes Delight. It's an affection day, day 14. Love Takes Delight. I believe in you. I know you can do it. It might seem hard. That's okay. We can do hard things. I love you guys. Like the video, share, subscribe, do all the things, follow, and I will see you all tomorrow night. Thanks again for stopping by. Bye now. Bye, everybody. See y'all later.